Unbelievable. I gotta sit here and defend Floyd Mayweather's legacy. Undefeated pound for pound fighter, best fighter in the sport, and I have to defend his legacy. Isn't that something? That shows you what type of social media world we live into right now. The man, since he won the world title, has fought #1 contenders. Okay? They're in the top 2 and 3 out of everybody since he won the title. I mean, since he beat Hernandez, who did he fight next? What was his name? Angel Manfredi. That's what it was, at 130. As soon as he won the belt. I mean, he not only beat Gennaro Hernandez, who was undoubtedly the best fighter at 130. They're going to say, oh, his age, he come of age. I mean, no one's beat the man. Okay? He lose to Floyd Mayweather, he's done. That's it. He was out the sport. But Manfredi, Angel Manfredi, he comes up to take on the champ. And man, now what y'all gonna say? Angel Manfredi was ranked #2. Okay? He was ranked #2 by the WBC. Now you gonna say he won? He was 25 and something, like he only had like 2 losses. So he was 25 and 2, I think, at that point. Then who was after him? The Ramos kid, Carlos Rios. No, Carlos Ramon Rios, that dude. Now you know he was hell on wheels. And anybody know he was 44 and 2. You know, but come on. Who was he? What was he ranked? He was in the top 5. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Y'all don't even know these fighters. Y'all ain't know nothing about what was going on when these guys was fighting them. Junko, ranked #2 contender. In the WBA and IBF, Junko was #3 and #4 back in the late 90s. He was 33 and 2 with 1 draw. And he never got his shot at the WBA title because he took the fight with Floyd Mayweather for the WBC super featherweight. So come on, man. What y'all talking about? Carlos Granado, whatever it is, he was 34 and 2. I ain't know nothing about him, but hey, he lost too. Then there's this Vargas guy. I think they just blown him up for a title shot. He was on this down slope. But that was 40. He was 40 and 6. Then you got Augustus, Emmanuel Augustus, 16 losses at the time, 22 victories. Everybody's saying who is this guy? Now I shouldn't even have to defend Emmanuel Augustus, whose name was Emmanuel Burton at the time. His mother got married, were late in her years, and he loved the guy so much he took his last name. So look, I'm not even going there. But after that fight, the biggest, baddest man at 130 pounds was Diego Chico Corrales. Okay? Then at 135, they had, what's that, Super Shane Mosley. Everybody called him Sugar Shane, but they used to call him Super Shane Mosley when they wrote the article on him. So the Corrales Mosley fight was talked about. Not Mayweather. Chico Corrales versus Shane Mosley. Floyd Mayweather is a countdown to when he's gonna lose to Chico Corrales. Once Diego lost to Floyd, everything changed around. Oh, Corrales, well, we knew he had weight problems. He had the wife problems. It started since then. Who he fight after that? He could have just said, you know, I don't have to fight this. He fights another number one contender, Carlos Hernandez. Y'all don't remember him? Number one contender in the WBC. Number two contender with the IBF. Number three contender in the WBA. Carlos Hernandez. Everybody remembers him, huh? Okay. Jesus Chavez. Okay. Who became the number one contender for the title at the WBC when Floyd fought him. 35-1. Nobody remember him? He used to live in Chicago. Nobody remembers him though. Jesus Chavez. Y'all remember probably later on he fought Eric Morales and stuff, but yeah, Chavez was a hell on wheels back then. He was also ranked number 2 by the IBF. He was also ranked number 4 by the WBA, which I couldn't understand that to save my life. Then you got Castillo. He jumps to 135 and fights the best fighter at 135. There was no fighter better than Castillo at 135. The number 2 fighter at 135 was a guy named y'all don't even remember? Okay, I'll fill it in for you. It was Philip Nadeau. And everybody's going to say, well, wow, what happened? Why wasn't Shane Mosley there? Because Shane Mosley left. But did Shane Mosley fight Castillo? Did he fight Jose Luis Castillo? No, nobody says nothing about Shane Mosley's record at the lower weights before he jumped up to fight Oscar De La Hoya. But compare his to Floyd Mayweather before he jumped up there. Floyd Mayweather fought the killers. I mean, everybody said, well, what about Casa Mayor? And despite all the lies they tell you, Casa Mayor handlers did not want to put him in that ring with Floyd Mayweather Jr. when they could beat every other fighter in the division. Now you tell me what's a great business move for you. Lose to him and you have nothing. Arcelina Freitas, don't even bring his name up. They wanted no parts of Floyd Mayweather. They took the Casa Mayor fight. They were offered. Freitas had a chance to fight Floyd Mayweather, and he didn't take it. He didn't want to move up and wait. For holler at your boy. And I don't even want to consider him anyway. And anyway, Philip Nadeau and Sosa was ranked number 2 and number 3 by the WBC when Castillo was there. But once Castillo lost, he took the number 1 contender spot because everybody said, oh, he won the first fight, even though Floyd had an injury. He didn't take another fight in between and make it wait and drag it out a year. He fought him immediately after. An immediate rematch for this man right here. And what happened? The second fight nobody talks about because he got wiped out. It was a wipeout. He dominates Sosa, Nadeau. He fights DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley as his first fight at 140 pounds. He moves up and out the 135 weight class because there's nothing there besides these fighters. There's nothing there. So he fights Chop Chop Corley, who was 28-2 at the time. And it was an eliminator because Corley was ranked number 1 by the WBC for the title shot. So this was the eliminator to see who would go ahead and fight for the 140-pound WBC title. Okay, that champion was Arturo Gatti. They wanted to make the Gatti fight because Gatti was the recognized champion. He was HBO's boy. The Cotto fight, the fight against Miguel Cotto, was a fight that Floyd Mayweather won at 140 pounds. He fought Henry Brucelas, and they told Floyd Mayweather when he fought Henry Brucelas that if you beat Henry Brucelas, we can make the fight with Miguel Cotto, then we'll get you the shot at Arturo Gatti. They were keeping Gatti away from Floyd Mayweather Jr. Okay, they was like, well, let's get, nobody know who this Henry Bercellus is. Let's get Leonard Dorian in here. Or somebody that's been on HBO before. No. But then they gave Leonard Dorian to Arturo Gatti. But they wouldn't give him to Floyd Mayweather. So, that took place for a while. Then when this is going on, you know, everybody's like, okay, you beat Gotti, but Gotti's a nobody. The man is Costa Zoo at 140. 140 is Costa Zoo's land. You gotta beat Costa Zoo. Fine. That's the fight he wanted when he came to 140. He came there for Costa Zoo. He wanted to make sure he beat Costa Zoo. Zoo and his people, they want to get as much money as possible out of the fight. Instead of taking the deal that was on the table that would have given Costa Zoo a guaranteed $3 million plus pay-per-view, they were going to make that a big pay-per-view fight. The holdup was he wanted more money on the tickets. They wanted to have it overseas where it could be a bigger venue. Floyd can come out there and fight him. Costa Zoo's the man, not Floyd Mayweather. And we're going to prove it. They was going to go fight Ricky Hatton, the guy who fought on all Costa Zoo's undercards, the man of England. We'll go to his hometown and beat up on Ricky Hatton in front of all these thousands of people and change our negotiation ploy. What happened was, well, you saw what happened. Ricky Hatton beat the mess out of him at his own game. And it was just a foul fest affair. And now Ricky Hatton is all of a sudden the man at 140, right? But Ricky Hatton didn't bring pretty much nothing to the table, and he had no plans, no dreams of fighting Floyd Mayweather. So Floyd's going to 147. Now, coming to 147, who was the man? When he was going up there, the reason he was going there was to fight Corey Spinks. Corey Spinks had all the titles except for one. And Zab Judah, he had just beat Zab Judah the first time. They had a big little thing in the press conference, and they tried to get the fight done. Don King and Bob Arum couldn't come to an agreement on the split of the monies and all this stuff, so the fight never took place. It just never went down. It never materialized, and that was the fight a lot of people had wanted to see, who was the best boxer, and Corey thought Floyd was too small for him and he could have beat him, and it was a good little spat between the two, but it never materialized. Zab Judah won a belt like immediately, like 2 or 3 weeks after losing to Corey Spinks. Goes out, unifies the title. He wins all the belts. So there is one champion at 147 pounds, and his name was Zab Judah. Zab Judah will then go ahead and lose after defending his title a couple of times. He goes ahead and fights Baldomir. And we know what happened there. Baldomir gets the decision. Okay, and once that happened, a fight with Mayweather was already reached where Zab Judah was getting $3 million, Floyd was getting $5 million out of the money. The deal was reached between Zab Judah and Floyd Mayweather. It had to be renegotiated because he lost. He wasn't the unified champion anymore, and the contract was only for the unified championship. So they redid it. Judah ended up getting $1 million to take the fight, and he ended up keeping the IBF title because Baldomir didn't want to pay all the sanctions and fees for the fight that he had with Zab Judah, because that would have rendered him almost broke. So that's why you will probably not see another unified champion again. Now, with this happening, Baldomir, Zab Judah fight, whatever, Floyd, you know what happened. Floyd dominates. Now, all of a sudden, once he beat Zab Judah, now the fight wasn't good anymore. Zab was what, 34 and what, 2 at the time? And ended up becoming 3 or something after that fight. But I don't know. All I know is Zab was the man at the time. And once he beat Zab, they said, well, you're not really the champion. Baldomir's the champion. He's the man at 147. Okay. we'll fight Baltimore. They didn't try to fight Baltimore. You know they tried to fight Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley was the guy that they were going to fight at the end of the year to segue the Oscar De La Hoya fight that was going to happen the previous year. Because this talks was already a year in advance. Shane Mosley, well, Jen Mosley, his wife, was managing his career, and she didn't agree to the terms of the fight. It wasn't about money. It was about, I don't think Shane's going to knock Floyd out. I think this fight's going to go to decision, and it won't favor Shane because they want to make the big money with Oscar De La Hoya. So she felt, this is going to render my husband's career. We'll just fight the winner of that fight after the fight. So that's why they came up with this. I got to get my tooth looked at. I got to go to the dentist. And Shane didn't want to get in the fight because he did not want to be some stool pigeon to boost up the Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather fight. That's the truth as to why it didn't take place. They had a closed door meeting with HBO, with Golden Boy, with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather came out and was like, man, this dude let his wife run his entire life. I mean, hey, it's the people who's in the know already. That's exactly what took place. So Floyd ended up fighting Baltimore and becoming the man at 147. Then we know Oscar De La Hoya was next. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that Margarito was dunked. Antonio Margarito should be disqualified for anyone's conversation as far as, I don't know, any type of format of legitimacy, because he had plaster on his hands, and I believe he had it when he fought Paul Williams, and for all his big fights he had the plaster on his gloves, on his hand wraps. And with that being said, he's disqualified, but you got to look at it. Who did he beat to even qualify? Really, truthfully, he fought nobodies. He didn't fight Zab Judas. He didn't fight. Did he fight? But I think he fought Baltimore. I don't even think he won that. No, he didn't fight Baltimore. Kaladi did, and he didn't fight him. He didn't fight anybody. Corey Spinks. I mean, these are the guys who were the champions and held belts. Don't you think Margarito should have fought one of them? I mean, it's amazing how social media will tell you who was the man and who wasn't the man. Then you got, Ricky Hatton, the guy from 140 that they claim Floyd ducked because he went up to 147. Hatton's ready to make the jump to 147, and for what you didn't know, or forgot about, he already won the WBA title from Luis Castillo. I mean, not Castillo, but Collazo. And I felt Collazo won that fight too. And I felt that he got robbed against Ricky Hatton. And I bet that in Vegas. And just to say, because I knew Ricky Hatton couldn't. That's when Hatton went down to 140 again, because he's like, well, maybe I'm rushing it. Then he comes up and says, no, I'm ready. I'm going to 147 to take on Mayweather. Floyd showed him a whole different level than he was expecting. He's never been the same again. He retires. Comes back almost 2 years later against Marquez. A lot of people are going to tell you he retired to duck Miguel Cotto. And Miguel Cotto will even tell you himself. He was never offered any fight by Bob Arum, his promoter, to fight Floyd Mayweather Jr. It was never presented to him. Quote unquote from Miguel Cotto himself. Never presented to him. Now you got Shane Mosley after he destroys Marquez. Once he beats Marquez, the fight they want to see, Manny Pacquiao. It went from Cotto, Manny Pacquiao. That quick. So after the Marquez fight, Shane Mosley. Well, let's look at what Shane Mosley was when he beat him. Marquez was already number 2 pound in the world. We don't need to know about that. Shane Mosley, last fight, knocked out Margarito. He was the best Shane Mosley there was around on the planet. He destroyed, what's his name? Mayorga knocked him out in the last second of a round, which probably was the most dramatic knockout in boxing at that time. Just to get it, score a knockout to win in the last second. I mean, literally the last second of the fight. Then he fights Victor Ortiz, a young, strong welterweight coming up, who's the WBC champion, not Floyd, because he relinquished the title. But this is what people weren't doing. Why don't these guys give the younger guys a shot at the championship? I mean, a shot at just being up there on that plateau. He gave him more than a shot of being on the plateau. He gave him the biggest shot on the biggest stage, and he was the champion. And he only lost, 2 fights going into that fight? Then you got how many fights did Victor lose? I think he lost either 1 or 2. I think it probably was 1. I don't remember. But anyway, after that, he goes and fights Cotto. At Cotto's weight of 154, you're not going to see a drained Miguel Cotto, who's trying to take all this equal lights. Was he still the same fighter he was at 147 before the Margarito fight? Absolutely not, because that was many years ago and less punishment. But the style of Miguel Cotto was present, and the fact that Miguel Cotto was still strong, but he just couldn't contend with Floyd Mayweather's boxing ability and his ability to hit and not get hit in certain situations, wore down Miguel Cotto and scored in spots where, he needed to be. We all know why the Manny Pacquiao fight wasn't happening. He wanted to fight. Floyd wanted to fight him on May 5th. Seriously, he did. And Manny Pacquiao had no plans of fighting on that date because Bob Arum had no plans to fight on that date because he already had things paid for his fight on his dates. And he's not going to jump on someone else's date and lose his money. That's it. That's all. Now, you take these other fighters' careers. You want to talk about Manny Pacquiao. Look at where the people was when he fought them. Look at what they were in their careers when he fought Eric Morales. Eric Morales is a man who just lost to Zaire Rahim at 135 because he couldn't make 130. He had to kill himself to make 130 again 2 more times. Look at what happened in the Barrera fight. Why is he fighting these guys like that? Why is he fighting? There's always some type of catch when Manny Pacquiao fights his opponents. It's always some type of catch. Miguel Cotto, catch weight. Oscar De La Hoya, haven't fought at the weight in 12 years. Let's put him down here to get him on the list. Oh, Shane Mosley, after he just loses to Floyd Mayweather, comes in right after he had ACL surgery. The public they tried to keep that blinded from the entire public. Shane Mosley had an ACL tear, and he just had surgery. It hadn't even healed yet. And here he is fighting him. Ricky Hatton, after the beatdown he took from Floyd, he's right back, drops him down to 140, where he hasn't been for a couple of months since the Mayweather fight. So making 140, and he's a guy that comes in at like 180, losing all this weight, going down to 140 instead of 147. But he's supposed to be more healthy. It's come on, it's all a farce, and y'all should know better. Y'all should know better. Y'all smarter than this.